I know you've tried before, the visualizing, the journaling, the letting go. And I know that it gets harder every time that it doesn't show up. But maybe you weren't actually failing. What if it was actually all linking together behind the scenes? Maybe it was always working out. You just weren't supposed to see it yet. What if you are the one that actually gets to have it all? My name is Bobbie, and I empower you to love yourself so you can manifest anything. Subscribe if you want, because by the end of this video, you won't just be questioning if you get to have it all. You will know without a shadow of a doubt that you are the one that gets to have it all. Here's the problem. You have the attention span of a fish. Your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and a belief. It just obeys. And so stop waiting for proof and start giving the orders, because your attention is the real superpower. And truth be told, you've been spending it like you're a brokey. And this is not some spiritual woo-woo stuff. This is literal neuroscience. Focused attention increases neuroplasticity and the energy around it, meaning the more obsessed your attention becomes, the more real that thing feels to your nervous system. Therefore, it can become, because you cannot draw in what you cannot contain. And so it's much like sunlight and a magnifying glass. If the sunlight is scattered, nothing is going to happen. But if you have that focused attention, that focused sunlight, you can burn a hole through your reality. Neville Goddard said, your attention is forceful in proportion to the narrowness of its focus. Really just let that sentence sink in for a second, because that sentence gives you the key to your own universe. Your attention is forceful in proportion to the narrowness of its focus. This is why when people come and work with me and they have 250 things on their list of what they're looking to create, I want to delete all of that and get straight to the core. If you have a high and strong concept of yourself, such as, I always get what I want, naturally these things are just a byproduct of that concept of self. And when you focus directly on your self-concept, your confidence, what you believe about yourself, what you expect from yourself and the world, naturally those 250 things just end up being drawn to you anyway. And so a real flex is being able to ignore anything that isn't your desired assumption. And notice how I said desired assumption, because naturally your dominant assumption right now could very well be something that you do not want. So I don't want to say to you, ignore everything except your most dominant assumption, because your dominant assumption might not be where you want it to be. But your ideal dominant assumption should be, I always get what I want. Things always work out for me. I'm the best at what I do. Magical things happen for me every day. Miracles are drawn to me now. Isn't it so wonderful? Opportunities are flowing into my life today and every day. That should be your most dominant assumption, the most ideal dominant assumption. And so you want to ignore everything in your reality that isn't that. And that's not delusion, that's creation. You are creating what you want by starving what you do not want. How? Through focus. And Elmer Locker Jr. on YouTube actually has a great exercise to help your focus, and something that I'm going to be doing as well over the next month. It's a leaf exercise, and what this does, it helps you visualize. And so when you then go on to visualize that beautiful scene with your SP, the money that you're going to spend, the booming business, the clients, the travel, whatever it is, you're really focused. And anything that I've ever created through my mind, which has been an awful lot, has been through very boring, very focused, repetitive scenes. For example, when I manifested my apartment in London, I just kept seeing this swirling river, this gorgeous river and this beautiful skyline view. And I just kept seeing that over and over and over again. And lo and behold, that was the exact view that I had. But what I didn't do is everything else, the surroundings, the location, the interior. So this is why it's so imperative to have that focus and that attention. And Neville Goddard said something that has stuck with me ever since I read him years ago, which was, leave the mirror and change your face. And so what if this time it did actually work because you left the mirror and changed your face? And I'll give you an example of how I did this recently. I was kind of getting a little bit caught in the noise of a relationship and how that person was showing up for me and how it wasn't what I wanted, you know, forgetting my power for a second, being a victim, which is everything we talk about. We don't do on this channel, but you forget in the heat of things. And I remember thinking like, I don't really want this anymore. Like, you know, I'm done. And then I was like, hang on a minute. We leave the mirror, whatever they're doing, however they're showing up, and we change our face. How am I showing up? And so am I showing up as someone that's being provided for, that's someone that's being taken care of, as someone that's being spoiled, all of those things. When I was able to leave the mirror, focus on what they're doing, what they're not doing, having arguments in my head, and change my face, the largest bouquet of roses that I've ever received were at my front door, literally within a few days. And so this is really the power of changing your concept of yourself, leaving the mirror, the situations, the circumstances, the people, the things, what they said, what they didn't say, everything, and changing your face. How are you showing up? Are you showing up as someone that, whatever it is that you're creating, someone that has a 7-figure business? Are you showing up as someone that has a YouTube channel? People want these followers, people want these, you know, all of these brand deals, but they're not posting. And so you really have to decide what is it that you want and show up as that person now. And that's when you can really say, this time it worked. This time, because I decided that I was the one that got it all, I actually got it all. And that's how we do it, by leaving the mirror and changing your face. And so your mindset arrangement is the inner structure of your beliefs, assumptions, and your reactions. And it's what determines the blueprint that your life is built around. And so really ask yourself, what are you building? What are you showing up as? What can you leave in your world today, leave the mirror, and what can you change internally, change your face? What can you do before this video has even ended to start shifting that reality? And something that can really help you is anchoring in the fact, I always get what I want. What if you always got what you want? Try it for the next 7 days, for the next 30 days. I always get what I want. Anytime that gremlin comes up, you shut it down. I always get what I want. Gradually, your brain is going to be saying it back to you. Gradually, you're not going to hear any other noise except from I always get what I want. So I trust this video helped you manifest. If you would like to do coaching with me, you can check that down below. I have one spot available. Also, you can grab the book. There's always more love, and there is a free community that we have calls every single week. We do book club. We do meditations. There's so much that happens in the community, and everyone in there is absolutely sensational. So thank you if you are in there. I appreciate you more than you would know. You're worthy, you're loved. I love you, and thank you.